are sleeping on this brand, and I don't know why, because what they're doing is brilliant. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at the 2025 Forest River dealer display, where we get to see all these new, crazy, innovative, exciting things. And there's so many things here that are literal industry first that I've never seen before. I've been doing this approaching 16 years now. But one of the things that stopped me dead in my tracks is this right here. And to think that kind of like Salem and Wildwood, just a stick and tin brand are the ones driving the innovation of the RV industry. One of the cousins of that family is Ozark over here, and they are also moving forward. But they have taken almost like a completely different RV evolutionary branch. They are doing things in weird ways that no one has ever done, and it doesn't even sound like it would make sense, but when you see it in person, it's amazing. So what makes this thing right here? We've got massive campsite window coverage. I've never seen a person who doesn't like windows over on the campsite. We've got a huge open lounge where if it's just one or two of you, you can even kick back and like take a daytime nap and snooze on this thing. Not to mention, if you're gonna have friends over, you actually have plenty of seating. There's tons of storage below. There's tons of storage everywhere in this thing. The whole freaking thing is storage. It's almost kind of crazy. But the countertop space, again, too many windows, too many countertops, too much storage. I've never heard a customer complain about too many of those things. It also has a 7-foot ceiling and a big king bed up front, so it actually looks and feels big and open. There are so many travel trailers that are just not well fit to a bigger person like me or somebody larger. I'm not the largest bear out there. I'm just larger than the average bear. There's the Summit package if you prefer fiberglass. We've got an outside refrigerator and a gas grill cooker hooker in case you want to do some grilling outside. If I'm just going to find something to complain about on this, it's just that because they went with so many windows, they didn't have space up here on the wall for a second awning arm. So the awning's not the biggest I've seen, but dude, I don't care. I got a huge front storage compartment. I'll bring a 10 by 10 easy up. The living room, the kitchen, the storage, the bedroom, the bathroom in this thing rocks. So I can't wait to show you this thing in more detail. Let's get rolling. So to help you get your bearings, I'm actually standing back in the bathroom right now looking forward. And this thing just has it's a one slide RV, but it has such a massive, massive open feel. Tons and tons of windows and a very rare 7-foot ceiling. You don't tend to run into 7-foot ceilings until you get into some really high budget rigs like Reflection and Eagle travel trailers. And if you're a taller person, a smaller ceiling just doesn't always fit you, whether it's in the shower or whatever. Or a lot of those, RVs also have short queen beds or something like that, that if you're just a bigger sized adult, you just don't tend to fit, and you're going to fit here much, much better. Now, it's a 15,000 BTU Coleman Mach Air unit, by the way. And notice too, there are certain aspects on this RV where they did not overspend on the budget, because at the end of the day, they are still trying to be a little bit budget conscious. And because they're a little bit physically bigger than a lot of other brands, they already do run a couple bucks more than a few other brands. But they are, I think, very smart. This is kind of what I call sort of a smarter class RV rather than starter class RV, because it goes beyond your basics. But the thing is, this is designed by someone who goes camping, for someone who knows camping. And I think that is a major critical difference on this one right here. And what I mean by that is the brand manager of this is an active RVer himself, as is the vast majority of his team. So when you start looking at things like storage solutions, when you start looking at things like comfortably large sleeping spaces, when you start looking at things like campside window viewing so that you can actually enjoy taking a peek at your site instead of the neighbors, that's where they have that personal hands-on, boots on the ground, hard-nosed experience. That there's nothing there's plenty of RVs out there that are designed by engineers that they check the basic boxes and they do well. But this is one that is built completely around you and your experience. Like no floor vents, keeping us easy, clean, carpetless, even through the slide. I love it when the slide floor and the primary floor are identical. Like you almost lose the transition right there just a little bit. Now this table is a pseudo lagoon style table where if you want to kind of swivel, pivot, swivot that around, you can do that. The kitchen might be an area like the countertop space, the prep space, and the viewing is insane. The storage capacity in here is even more insane. You might find, some folks may find issues with the cooking facilities. We've got a 3-burner propane stovetop over here, but then what we also have is a electric oven. This is air fryer, convection, microwave combo. So that's another thing, though. This RV doesn't tend to use the propane quantity that some other RVs use, depending on how you camp and how you cook. But I mean, how many other RVs, other than like opposing slide living room, fifth wheels, and travel trailers, give you this kind of window coverage over here? There are not many. There's a couple, but there are not many of them out there. Working our way around here. What's also kind of interesting is, even though it is kind of one room open floor plan design, there's sort of a pretty clear definition between kitchen and living room in this, which I think is it's kind of cool that they were able to accomplish that. Because from the back of the RV forward, you're looking at your living room. From the front of the RV back, you're looking at your kitchen. And somehow, to me, it just makes sense. Now, this toilet, man, they could have almost done a couple's toilet. There's so much space around it. Like you can do a his and a hers, or a mine and a yours kind of toilet, although I don't necessarily recommend that. And look at the floor space in here. Ozark is not about cutting corners in terms of space in any room where they possibly can. I will say this, I'm not personally a super big fan of the dual lavatory, the double sink arrangement in this, but those fully mirrored cabinet doors, look how big they make this look. And I don't know that you would need to store towels in there. Well, you don't need to store towels in there because this actually has its own dedicated linen space, but I think it's big enough you could stand up like blow dryers and stuff in there. I think you could really utilize a lot of that space. Now, you can see how this storage goes all the way down to the floor. A tiny little nitpick I have is there's just no dedicated wastebasket space here that I'm really finding. And for all the focus on functional livability features, I'm almost a little surprised that was one that got missed. I won't be surprised if they end up kind of circling back at some point and updating this. But you've got 4 of those big, deep linen pockets there that go all the way back to the depth of that shower. And take a look at me on the left side of the screen standing in the shower. I'm a little over 6 foot tall. I'm not even close to bumping my head in this because of the 7-foot ceiling in it. And if you're trying to take a shower at night, you'll actually be able to see what you're doing because they include the lightsaber Tron lighting in that thing. And frankly, most RVs don't make it easier for you to take a shower at night. Not to mention, it is a big, large, square shower pan with full surround paneling. And it is a shower curtain that some folks may not necessarily prefer. But the shower pan itself, the space is so large, I don't think you're really going to have a lot of issues there. Something else that you're not going to have any issue with is total storage capacity in this thing, because it's kind of insane. Like, notice the vertical handle right here. Look at this. This is what I call the pull-out perfect pantry. The storage comes to you, and the stuff is actually adjustable. So if you want to raise, lower, change the number of shelves or anything you have, you can pack so much stuff in there, and you don't have to, reach armpit deep into it like you're giving an elephant an enema. At least not generally. If that kind of jelly is your jam, though, you will be delighted to know that above the refrigerator, they do have an elephant enema storage pocket. That is very large. It is also lacking the Bob Seger strut. So there's that. It's funny because that is a 10 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge. So one of the bigger 12 volt fridges, at least the 2-door variety anyway. But by contrast, it almost looks like it's smaller just because the entire RV, like the whole ceiling height and everything, is so much bigger. Now, if I'm not mistaken, these are going to be very similar, where they are, yes, okay, sorry, let me get my arm out of the way. So this is a big, long bank of storage, but, it is also gravity drop. Now, to give you a size reference, I did throw the sink covers in there, a set of sink covers. Actually, I ran over to another RV and took them. I have to make sure I get them brought back at some point. On our way through here, Look at the little detail. How many times recently here have you noticed a lot of RVs with farm sinks? They're starting to include the handy little cup sprayer, but their sink covers don't fit anymore because the cup sprayer water falls over. And having the detail orientation and the wherewithal to actually account for that, I don't know that I've really ever seen other builders kind of take that into consideration. Now, if you're not familiar with one of these things here, basically anything that you would be able to cook in a conventional microwave or an RV oven, you can bake or nuke basically in there. The trick is it's only electric, and your battery ain't gonna run that. That's a pretty hefty power pole appliance, kind of like your air conditioner. So if you do want to be boondock off grid cooking, you still have the propane stovetop. I believe there's also gas grill quick connect outside. Look at this bank of drawers, dude. That is awesome. All plywood drawers. Also, again, anywhere that they had a little opportunity, they just did something crafty and creative with the storage, kind of like this entire entertainment pantry-tainment system here. Notice over on the right, the door by the door. Yeah, that actually makes sense now that I say it out loud. Adjustable and or removable shelving, and not just a couple shelves behind the television, but look at the basket arrangements that they have going on here. That is actually really, really useful. Little bags of like, Fritos, Doritos, chips, or something like that. Here's another common misconception about the electric space heating fireplaces. People say, won't the heat off that, heat up everything in here? Or like if you had something that was chocolate for s'mores, wouldn't that melt it? And the answer is no. It pumps the heat out the front side. It's actually colder air that comes off the back. So no, it is not going to nuke your your graham crackers and stuff that you have in there. It won't pump a lot of heat back into that cavity. But another thing I haven't overtly mentioned, it's been very obvious to look at, no conventional dining. Instead, what they have is this big giant super sofa, super lounge kind of thing. And the thing is, when people, they see one of these, they don't realize that this can actually convert into basically one of the largest guest sleepers that is really available out there in the RV industry. Not to mention, even if it's not in the sleeper position, during the daytime, if you just want to stretch out and lounge and shove yourself over into the corner of that, facing straight at the television, you got the perfect place to do it. And we've also got a shocking amount of storage going on down here, like all these totes going on. There's nearly 20 cubic foot of food safe storage available right there, just those totes. I think about 16 cubic foot of storage in there. Now, this longer bench over here, it sets down a little bit lower, so it doesn't have a sort of dedicated tote under it, but I would absolutely go to like Target or Walmart or Amazon or something, and I would get myself a longer tote for that. Now, you may notice how the bedroom door, of course, has its own, full privacy door right there. But again, something I mentioned, if you want to park yourself over in the corner of this lounge, you can have an absolutely awesome direct-facing entertainment arrangement right here. Now, it doesn't include a factory TV, but I mean, if all you need is a TV to take the RV camping, give us a call. That's just the simplest stuff. We can take care of that for you. And we're still not done. We've got a whole front bedroom to take a look at here. Now, a couple interesting things, like they've actually included dedicated light switches here. And this is one of the unsung benefits and qualities, I think, of stick-built campers. They can put switches, they can put outlets, and you might notice household and USB outlets both over here, anywhere they want, essentially. They can put them right down by the countertop level where you want them. But look at these windows. They are large. I've got the other one basically totally uncovered so you can see it. But they just do a little sliding window treatment here. And something I've seen a lot of people do, like I look at a lot of used trade-in RVs when they come through our stores. And I see a lot of people basically add aftermarket a sort of sliding window treatment like this to just block out the sun and privatize their bedrooms. And very few people I see actually open up their bedroom window shades on a regular basis. They like to have everything closed. So again, they just kind of did it right from the factory. Now, on the build sheet, they call this a king bed. The RV industry loves to take liberties with things. I am eyeballing this, and I'm pretty sure that's a 70 by 80 king bed. But I want to be fair. If you look, I don't know that I'm really going to call it a walk-around king. You're kind of crawling into it because they do have these huge side stands because it has a massive front storage compartment. They had to kind of, you know, build over the top of it as a result. When I say huge front storage compartment, that ain't no jive, kids. I mean, look at this. I mean, it is actually to the point where I think you may reasonably be able to argue, is that too large? Because it is kind of interfering with the interior function, but at the same time, the cargo capacity you get outside is just, I mean, to the extreme, it's rocking the mic like a vandal. Now, if I don't mention this, you wouldn't be able to see it real easy, but there are hanging rack hooks up top there so that, you know, you have your hanging storage. Now, apologies. The camera angle is pointed up so high because the ceiling of this is so tall, just like we've seen in the rest of the RV. There is, I'm going to give them credit that they enclosed the storage up here, and there's a lot of storage up here. You're going to have to crawl on top of the bed, and you're not going to have to worry about, did I close those cabinet doors? Because they're going to be gravity closed, and they're going to close for you. Around the corner, you may have noticed the TV hookups, but they had a little extra pocket of space. And they utilize that over here. And they're actually including, I should probably get this bed out of the way. Much better. They're actually including 3 more of those totes that you saw under the bed here. And I kind of put them in a right front, a middle, and then a back left orientation so that you could get kind of a scope and scale for the size of the compartment space that you have there. It's almost so big that I think I would probably personally come up with some kind of cargo netting there or something to enclose that. But hey, I mean, ooh, something else I'm noticing. That is also a double ducted air system. They have dual AC runs off this air conditioner to help really get that air pushed around. Now, I've not seen this RV in road mode. I'm going to make a prediction. I think we're going to keep the bathroom. I think we're going to lose the bedroom. And it appears I was dead on here, but it's smart how they kind of laid this out. If, like, it almost fits together like Tetris blocks that haven't yet clicked. You know, it's like Legos that aren't snapped together yet. You can actually just snake your way through here. You got to do a little bit of a sideways travel trailer two-step. But our kitchen stuff, our bathroom stuff, we are snack and craptastic access back in this direction. Coming from the bathroom forward, though, you see that my prediction appears to be exactly dead on. And sometimes I hate being right. My wife doesn't believe that, but it is true. You do not have the ability to get to the bedroom in this one by default. However, this is a rack and pinion slide. And one of the benefits of it is that if you're just trying to get the bedroom packed up, if you need to open it partially like that to be able to get up there to load stuff, you can do that without screwing it up. You shouldn't sit in the slide unless it's fully extended. In the case of a rack and pinion, that's true of most towable slides. But if you need to slip past it to get up there to get something, you can. I wouldn't try to do an overnight that way because the slide isn't technically fully properly sealed when you do this. But for a slip up and back, you could make that happen. Now, it's definitely not ideal. I'm not calling this one as having awesome travel access. It has some very good travel function for sure. So for short to mid-sized trips where you're going to leave in the morning and get there in the afternoon or sooner, this would be great. If you're going to do some long trips where you're going to stay overnight, this might not be the best fit. But if you appreciate how we take the time to show you all that stuff, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think about this so far. Now, one of the tricks, at the time I'm recording this RV, it's still, I don't know if it's in the prototype phase or if it's just getting ready to go into production, but full weights and measures are not yet available to me. But here's what I kind of know about Ozark. They are a little bit bigger, so they are a little bit heavier than some of the other brands out there. The empty dry weight of this is a few hundred under 7,000 pounds, but I don't have the total cargo capacity or the GVW available to me yet. So I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver on the tow vehicle. We may be on that cusp of where things start to become towable by the more heavier duty half tons and not your general duty half tons, and moving into that 3/4 ton space. That's one of the only downsides to all the awesome stuff Ozark's doing. They're a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but they're pulling off crap nobody else has even dreamed of doing. Look at the size of this front compartment. I am happy normally with the front pass-through storage where you could fit 4 or 5 bodies in there depending on how you cut them up, but I think you're getting closer to a baker's dozen in that thing. That is redonkulous right there. You may have noticed how they've gone to the retro metal like a lot of brands have done. It's funny. The retro metal is new this year. It seems like that's the cool new trend, but this is what RVs for stick and tin RVs for the longest time used to look like. Now, if you really don't like the idea of the tin skin, which first of all, the retro metal is like 1/3 thicker than the industry standard corrugated metal, and it has a layer of tough coat on it, so it's got an anti-scratch coating. But secondly, the Summit package, I believe it's called, can give you fiberglass on this if you want that easy cleaning, smexy look of the fiberglass. But look at the window coverage here. I'm gonna just start swinging you over to the left right here. Whether it's that just ridiculous window in the bedroom or the fact that they just put basically all the symmetrical window coverage on this they could all the way down. I love that. Now they had a chunk of space that was kind of difficult to use for storage because this area of the RV, this is where that like pantry bedroom exchange is located. So they opened it up outside. They just gave us a big fridge. They didn't force a griddle onto us, because some people like a griddle, some people do not. But having a fridge outside is incredibly handy. The trick is, by doing all of that, they did limit their potential awning space. That's one of the only hitches in this one's giddy up right here. Anti-slam entry door, so you can do the Miss Piggy and karate chop that sucker and it ain't gonna slap into stuff. Tankless on-demand water heater. We do have ourselves, these are import tires, by the way, but if that's like a big scary thing, there's tire shops all over the place. We can take the RV to a tire shop. We can swap tires around. That's not the end of the world. If that's the only thing stopping you, call us and we can figure stuff out. That's kind of what I call screwdriver work. If something comes down to a screwdriver or maybe some lug nuts, call us. We can figure that out. If you want a wall moved, we got the wrong camper, man. Now, your roof is walkable. There's an optional 200-watt solar package available for you. It is prepped and ready for a telescopic removable ladder and backup camera. And they have maintained a full bumper on the back. Oh, hello. We have a full hot, cold outside utility shower, too. Now, I'm going to see if I can try to not slip and parkour over this stuff and get you to the other side. And I don't think we're going to see a whole terrible lot here because we got this big electrical junction box over to us. I'm standing in water puddles. We all know how water and electricity are best friends, right? They love to hug each other. Looks like we have a single sewer outlet on this. So your kitchen, your bathroom, everything will drain right here. And then jumping up in front of that rack and pinion slide, I really don't have too much else to write home about other than, hey, look at that. We actually have a slide gripping textured slide wall right here. And yeah, they're using the T-wiper seals. So there's actually a 2 wiper seals in play right here. I should get the camera out. Sorry, 2 wiper seals in play, plus a bulb seal inside and out. So you have triple points of contact. And yeah, they're using a whole corner trim piece right here so that when rainwater washes down that side wall, it will actually... it'll try to wick inward into the side of the slide floor. But because of that trim piece, where the trim... I just ran into the slide out of the RV behind me. I'm in super tight quarters here. When the rainwater that's trying to wick into the slide floor hits the end of that trim piece, it'll reach an inversion. And that will cause rainwater washing down the slide side to drip down onto the ground instead of wick into the slide floor. That is one of those things that nobody probably would have ever noticed on this, but they're doing that so that this thing stays functional and doesn't have a rotted slide floor, you know, years from now. So thanks again for tuning in. Now, we have these at several locations. Like, the first one that jumps in my mind is like American Fork, Utah. I'm pretty sure that we have these out there, but our website will always show you what we have. Actually, I'll just make it easy for you. I'll leave you a link in the description. You can double check for pricing and availability. You're one click away. You never have to call a salesperson and give them your grandmother's maiden name to try to get a price quote on something. We put it right out there and we don't do hidden dealer fees. And I would love to tell you, hey, here's a link to another floor plan that's a similar layout from another builder. But Ozark is like a giant collection of unicorn floor plans that nobody else is matching. There is no other snakebite I've seen like these out there. And I think that's actually terribly impressive that in an industry that hasn't been known for originality for the last 40 years, they're finding a way to do it. Pretty cool. So when you're ready, we're ready. And until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.